Your style and your flavor make the city rock. They must say the season come out with a bang. Coach Minzy, best round here. Remember that.
Viewers and subscribers, welcome again to another edition of the Coach's Desk with your host, Coach Minzy. And we have a very famous individual here today with us in studio, Bert Cameron, affectionately called Bert Cameron, three-time Olympian, 1983 400-meter champion, and 400-meter Commonwealth champion. So we have a stalwart in house with us on the Coach's Desk today. Bert Cameron, welcome to the Coach's Desk.
Glad to be here.
Definitely. And how are you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing okay. I have a hectic morning, I remember that I have an interview with you, so I try to get home as quick as possible. And I have to do my chores because, I'm a married man and finish up now and then just ready for you.
All right. Thanks very much, man, for accepting this opportunity to be here on the Coach's Desk with us. So let's jump right into it, Coach. Talk to us about your years competing at boys champs for St. Diego High School.
Well, as you know, I started competing for St. Diego High School in 1977. Before that, I went to school at Spanish Town Primary, and then I went on to Spanish Town Secondary School, which is known as Spanish Town High. Got a scholarship from Spanish Town Secondary to St. Diego High School, which I started competing in class 1. That's why I had 3 years of competition. My first year at Boys Championship, I remember in 1977, I was in lane 1 in my 400 meter. Just barely qualified for the championship. Very excited because this is my first time. I was in a heat. I don't think you're probably a young man. Back in those days, you don't know the guys who were the outstanding athlete. I was not one of them. This was this guy named Dennis Henry. They call him Jaman from Kingston College. I was in his heat. I was in lane 1. And all I remember is that when the race started, I was in lane 1. I stayed in lane 1 all the way around. When the race finished, about 15 meters, I was still running, and the people in the stadium were clapping. You know how that is. When you're at last and you look like a clown, finishing, people clap you and laugh. And I realized that after that boys championship is no joke. So I said to my coach then, who was Jimmy Grant,
right,
the old boy, I said to him, Jimmy, I am starting training tomorrow because I did not feel good. So he laughed and he said, all right, Bertland, go ahead. So I guess he didn't take me serious or anybody didn't take me serious. I decided I was going to train. At that time, I was living in Spanish Town at St. John's Road.
Right.
When you're ready to stop me,
Yeah, man.
I went back on that time we have Furtado and Roxborough. They were in their last year at St. Diego High School. So those were the 2 major competitors at St. Diego High School them time. Right. I was just up and coming. And I went back now and I started to train. Because my best time that year before I made it to champ was 54 seconds, which I ran at a development meet over by at first, it was a Jamaica Agriculture, which now is a police center now in Police Park. And at that time, 54 was a qualifying time.
Right.
On the grass. So I qualified then. So I started to train in 1978, and nobody knows anything about me then, apart from the children and my schoolmate. And they saw me training and understand that, why, this man must be training for a purpose. I used to train with the football team. Right. At that time, we used to have people like Anthony Carbet.
Yes.
We used to call badders. And a lot of we at that time St. Jago High School football team was pretty good.
Yes.
We didn't win the championship, but those were my friends. And I used to run with this guy named Delroy Leng and Gregory McGoo and I don't know if you know these people, but those are the people
Man, I know the names, man.
You know, Michael McFarlane and all those guys. But they saw in me something different.
Right, coach. And that humiliation, so to speak, at champs when the audience was clapping you, that was a transformation period in your career, because you said that's when you started to train. That's when you start to engage your coach and to tell him that, hey, I want to start training. So that was a transformation period in your life.
Definitely. I did not like what happened. And I realized, and I at that time, I don't know how good I'm going to be. You know, I just want to be recognized. I just want to be known. You know, just like how you used to hear those other top sprinters like, you know, Richard Wilson from Calabar, and you have all these big names from Kingston College, these big names from JC. I want to be like one of them.
Right.
You understand? Because at that time, Jago did not have a big track team. We have a small amount, probably 8 or 9 or 10 people on our team. We can put a relay team on, and then we can do individual relay. At that time, I know you know Bogle. Bogle was one of my team.
100-meter runner, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yes. So I started to train, and I started to go to these development meets, and all of a sudden I started to win. But they were not fast times, but I am winning because I'm running. I find out that I love running 400 meters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so anywhere I go, I used to have a little bag under my shoulder. Anywhere there's a track meet, I want to go. I tell Mr. Grant, I said, Jimmy, I'm going. Those times you just go and register and run.
So Bert, let me butt in there. What really gave you that drive to go after track and field? I don't believe that it was only that moment at the stadium. What really gave you that drive?
Well, let me tell you, man. I come from Spanish Town. I come from a very poor family in Spanish Town. And we are like the forgotten people, eh? You know, I mean, my mother, my father, they work at low-level jobs. You know, my father used to cut cane. Okay. My mother used to do domestic work, working for people all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all over the place. And my brother and I realized that there's one way out. There's one way out is for me to go to school. All of us going to school, but they realized that there's something in me that probably can push at least one of us out. Probably get a scholarship to go to United States or something like that. Maybe that was a big dream, but they because they, my brothers, like when they get their dinner, they would give me a portion of their food because they see how hard I work.
Yes.
I was not into the badness or anything like that. I want to run. I would make in where we live. We used to make a circle in the middle of the yard, and I would keep on running around these circles until my head started to spin. I would fall. I would put sawdust down on the ground and put two pieces of stick or something and start to do some high jump. Okay. You know, I just want to find out what I could do.
Yes.
So when they realize that I can run, not as good as the other person, then they say yes. My family going to invest in me with whatever them have, meaning my brother will give me their food. You understand?
Yes.
So coming close to boys championship now, I start to run fast. Like in the 48 now.
Yes,
Moving from 54 now to running 48 and all those things, meaning it's achievement, and them see that I can run. I go to development meets and I win all my races. But yet still, you know, we in Spanish Town, so we are not the big names. You would hear other people.
Yes.
So when this time now we go to boys championship, In my heat, everything felt different. Although they didn't know about me, I in Spanish Town at St. Jago High School, everybody knows about me because they see how I work and they see how I run. So when we went to champs now, I finished second at boys championship. I run 47-2. I was beat by this guy from JC, James Hunter. He run 47, I think it's 47-1, and I run 47-2. And from that meet, I kept on training and I made the Jamaican team to the Central American and Caribbean Games to run the 400 meter.
Okay.
I moved from, and I went to Commonwealth Games in 1978 in Montreal.
And that was when you were in high school?
Yes, man, in 1978. At times, Herb McKinley was the coach.
Yes.
And I ran in that 4x400 meter relay. I ran 45-2 on my relay leg. Meaning, I'm moving from 54 seconds to 48, to 47, and then run at the relay. I run 45-20. I run the fastest leg on the Jamaican team. So I came back to Jamaica now. I still have one more year in high school, you know.
Yes.
So now
everybody know you.
Everybody knows about me now. I was the big favorite in 1979 to win boys championship. I mean, I was the king. Everybody come to champs to watch that race. As we have this guy named Ian Stapleton from KC, from Kingston College, right? Ian Stapleton was the big thing. He didn't run the year before because he got injured, but Ian was the man. Ian is the man who already run 46.
Right.
So now it's a big rivalry with Ian Stapleton and myself in 1979. If you talk to Kingston College people, the only thing they can talk about when they hear about Bert Cameron, they try to remind me about 1979 with Ian Stapleton.
Right.
They can't say nothing else. That's the only thing they can talk about. So we went to champs. Ian ran 47-1 in his heat. I run 47-2. In the semifinals, that time it's 3 races, you know.
Right.
In the semifinals, he run 47-2 and I run 47-2. So the finals come up now, man. I was in lane 5 and he was in lane 4. If you remember Jago, when we come off the first turn, Jago was sitting right there.
Yes.
They could see the green and yellow.
Yellow, yes.
So I was St. Jago. Only hope now in winning a gold medal. This is where I learned to run 400 meter and run it the way I run it at boys championship. Because let me tell you something. When the race started, I took off. I run the first 100 meter like I'm just running 100 meter, and because I want to beat Ian so bad. You understand? But Ian was faster than me. Ian was he was a better sprinter than I. So you imagine somebody who is faster than you as a quarter miler, and you're trying to beat him in the first 100 meter. In order for me to beat him in the first 100 meter, I must be going over my limit.
Yes.
So I went too fast. When I reached down I kept it going though, because when I come up the third, you hear the Jago people stand up and start shout, making all this noise. So I feel strength again, man. So I start to push it. Instead of relax a little bit, I push it more. And then when I reach at the coming up to the last on the turn, this third 100 meter, I heard somebody go so woo and pass me. And then I put my head back because I used to run my head back like this. And I tried to catch him, but I did not. He ran 46-2 and I ran 46-5.
Yeah.
But that was the last day in my life or Ian's life that Ian have ever beat me again. And that was the last day in my life that a Jamaican has ever beat me for about 12 years running 400 meter.
Good
so I learned the race right after that.
Right. So that was a teachable moment for you in that situation again. Now, Coach, what was the journey like for you in those days training for major championships? And who was your coach at the time?
Yeah, I got a scholarship and I went to UTEP, University of Texas at El Paso. And my coach at the time was this coach from Belize. His name was Colin Thurton.
Right.
And when I went to school up there at first, it's like, when you're naive
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand the system.
Right.
And you know you're coming from Jamaica, you think you're the best. I went to UTEP now at my first year, my freshman year, and I look at the coach and say, nobody can beat me. And I was a little bit cocky. I'm not going to lie. Me say, nobody can beat me. And the coach look and say, you stay there, man. You stay there. I said, all right, you watch. My first meet at a college, in college, I was running with this guy from USC, University of Southern California. And the man beat me so bad. The man run like 45 flat and I run 45.9. I went back to Colin. I said, Colin, man, the man, you're a bad man.
A wake up call.
I got a wake up call there, you know. But then I know that I was pretty good still because if you know in '79 I went on to Pan Am Games and all those other major championship for Jamaica as I just finished in high school and did pretty well. Went to World Cup and all those things. So I you know I am seasoned. I am good. So but when I got beaten in that race, that was the last race that I lost on the US circuit because I went that year and won NCAA as a freshman.
Yes.
As my first year in college, I won the NCAA in Texas in Austin. And I kept on getting better every day. Nobody knows though, because I was in 1980. I was the favorite to win 1980 Olympics because United States has boycotted. They are boycotted.
Right.
So and I just win NCAA. So I was the person who's supposed to win. But then 2-3 weeks before that, I pulled my hamstring.
Right.
And I went there and I didn't do that well. And then in 1981, I went and I went to the World Cup and I finished second and I ranked number 1 in the world that year because I have not lost one race.
Right.
And then we move on to the Commonwealth Games now.
Right. And you won gold at the Commonwealth Games in 82.
In 1982.
Right.
And
so
then
did that give you the confidence going into the big meet the following year?
Yes. I knew that I couldn't lose. I knew that I was not going to lose the World Championship because these are the same people that I'm competing with year round, you know? So I knew the only way I would have lost that race unless something wrong with me. So it was a festive, a very, what I would say, a happy moment for me because all I was doing is thinking about how fast I'm going to run and what I want to look like when I'm coming through the finish line. Yes, if I want to put my hand up or if I want to do whatever, because I know I was going to win. But what I didn't know though, that it was so stressful. Even if you believe that you're going to win a race, when the nerve kick in, and you know that the whole world is on your shoulder because you're supposed to win.
Yes.
That alone will defeat you. You know? So when I went there, it wasn't as easy as I thought.
Walk us through that race though, coach. That final in Helsinki. Walk us through that race.
It was a cold day. Because at that time, you know, back in those days, you have to run 4 races. Yeah. Right. You run the heats, then you run the second round. We call it quarterfinals. And then you go to semifinals and then to finals.
Yes.
I was just, my first 2 races, I was just jogging and I wouldn't say jogging, you know, but, just have everything in control.
Right.
You just know. I was having fun. I just glide through until I reach the semifinals. The semifinals, now I decide that I must run to get a good lane in the finals. So I won. I have lost a race. I won all my races. And in the finals, was easy looking race. I mean, it was not anything very competitive or anything like that. But in the finals was very competitive because everybody wants to win.
Yes.
So I realized when I came out the turn, it was a little bit more difficult for me, but I still end up winning. I ran 45.05 and it was very, very cool. Very cool. Because after that, I went on to Europe and I run a lot of 44s and all those things.
Okay.
But from right there now, then in 1983 when I won, God, I was just looking forward to 1984 Olympics because I know what, boy, things was just going great for me, you know. I mean, my life was turning around, everything, you know. start to make a little money, start to
Mm-hmm.
take care of my family the way I want to take care of them, and
And
all the things. Things was just good, man. Things
and
was
and
great.
and in '84, you got the privilege of bringing the flag.
Yes, 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 yes.
Was
I
that
was a
what was
cap.
that feeling like?
Oh my God. Because when you're taking the flag, like the TV station, them
Eyes on you.
they get a little bio on you
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about you. And
Okay.
so I'm there walking with the flag, man. I'm on cloud nine, saying, yes, I am the captain for my team. And at that time, we have Merlin out here and all those people on the team. But at that time, it was me. I was the Usain Bolt back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
I am the one who's supposed to bring home the goal. And let me tell you something, man. I mean, every single thing was going so great. And that's why I'm telling you, sport is like life, yeah?
Yeah.
Sometimes, you have to understand that today you're up, but tomorrow you may be down.
So you have
So
to
what you
seize every
don't do,
moment and opportunity.
yeah, what you don't do when you're going up, don't step on people, eh?
Right,
You
right.
know, don't. You can't be cocky, but make it be in a good way. Don't laugh at people and don't look down on people and don't do anything like that. Because those first two races at the Olympic Games, I can give you a build up because before even the races, man, I was walking in the what you call it, the village,
Mm-hmm.
and you will be stopped by your fellow athletes all over the place just say yes, they're looking forward to see this race and all them say. And I say, yes, man. I remember my opponent was this guy named Antonio McKay. And we were sitting down one day, me and the Jamaican were sitting and we saw him walk past. And he looked at me and I looked at him and we waved to each other. And because he was talking a lot of mess,
Mm-hmm.
that he's gonna take away the throne and all them
Right,
something.
right.
You gotta remember those 2 years I've never lost a race. No,
Mm-hmm.
no quarter milers have ever beat me. So no, that's true. I lost one race after the world championship. And I was in Zurich. I finished second. I don't know how that happened, but that's what happened. So when I went in the first race, I mean, I felt so good, man. Everything was nice. I went to Colin and I said, Colin, I'm ready. Herb McKinley was there, like my mentor.
Mm-hmm.
He was my coach. He was my mentor because I had my coach there with me. Then they went to the second race, still feel good. Semi-finals, now my coach look at me and say, all right, Bert, you need to run a fast race now so that you can get a good lane to go into the final. So I went into the race, man, feeling good, warm up properly and nice. Just the whole world is mine now. I'm going to see what a gold medal feel like right here. I went out. Antonio McKay was in lane 3 and I was in lane 2. And the race, I was just targeted him. And we went off. And coming out the first turn, about first step, as I reached about 120, I felt my foot. And when I felt my foot, it's like it jerk. And I said, I use another word. I said, I
Yes.
can't stop now. So I put my foot down again and I start to run and I have to stop again. And I said, you know, I put it down and I could see the stadium say, woo! And the whole stadium just stop. I remember I could see two colors. I could see pink and gold, like in the stadium just stand up. And I said, oh God, I can't stop now. So I put my foot again down and start to run. That time the guy from lane 1, Elvis Ford, I never forget him, ran past me. So I was way back. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, Jesus, what I'm going to do now, man? I have to, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the next Olympics. I have to do something. So I started to run. And when I put my feet out, forget about the injury and everything, I just started to run. And every stride that I make was faster than the one and stronger than the one before. And I realized that the field was coming back to me. And at the same time, I started to get worried and say, I wonder when I reach in the street, I'm going to die
Mm-hmm.
because I have to be running hard and
Yes.
faster than everybody else. And I found out when I came off the turn, I was at third. I look to my left, and there was nobody because the guy who in lane one who already passed me. I passed him back already. And then I look across. I was looking for Antonio Mackay because that was my rival. And then him and I start to run down to the tape, finish line, and we look across and then we see that we were 1, 2, 3. And they were taking 4 people to the final. So when I look up, I see that, yes, I'm going to qualify. And as soon as I qualify for the race, I start to walk. And then I walk, I feel the muscle really tight and I couldn't stretch. I couldn't do nothing. And I remember doing my hand like this. I said, yes, we can take care of this. And then I started to walk through the tunnel. I realized that my leg was no good anymore. But we still didn't scratch from the race because we wanted to see if we could see some good doctors there or whatever, what could happen.
That must
But
have
it
been
wasn't to be.
devastating for you there, coach.
My whole life flashed back on me, man. Everything. I couldn't forget. I couldn't forget because today you're so up, and in 45 seconds, everything just changed. Every single thing just changed. It's like, damn, what is this? And for 2 years it bothers me, and but the greatest thing about it is, I went and I did my best, and I was written off for the next 2 years. After the 2 years, I didn't do anything. Then I came back in 1988 and had my best Olympics ever because I ran in the finals. I finished sixth in the finals, and I got a silver medal in the 4x400 meter relay.
Right, right.
So I still end up receiving a medal from the Olympic Games.
Yes. And 1981 to 1983 would have been your best year on the track because you won Sportsman of the Year for those 3 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it would have been. What I want to ask you now, coach, what ended your career at the time it did?
I didn't hear that.
What ended your career at the time it did?
Okay, in 19 after 1988 that I received my silver medal. I ran in 1999. I was seventh in the world, and I realized, Minzy, I realized that things is not the same. I was one of those athletes that don't have to call a meet promoter to get to a meet, right? I was one of the top 5 quarter mile in the world. And I realized that after you start to go down, things change. You have to, it's very difficult for you to get into a race and everything changes. Mark, you used to being up here, then you start to go down. People wasn't looking, meet promoters weren't looking at you the way they look at you before. You weren't one of the man. You weren't one of the person that when they come to do the press conference that you're invited. And those things I realized that, something is not the same like what it used to be. You understand? So
Yes.
in 1990, I decided that I'm still going to keep on running.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to make the Olympics in 1992. I ran my first heat, and when I reached the semifinals, no, I made it to the final, but it was difficult. It was hard. And when I get to the finals, the third 100, I felt something in my hamstring.
Okay.
And I walked off the track, went over, took the mic, and announced my retirement. That was in 1992.
Okay.
Because I could have still gone on to the Olympic Games. Just be there, like probably wouldn't get to run to coach at Northern Arizona for 4 years. And after that, I just move on to something else.
All right, coach. We have come to the end of this segment where you talk about your life on the track.